I've been getting a couple of questions recently about kind of weight loss and all of that. And so I wanted to talk about it. First, I want to say that it was all healthy. I know that sometimes people lose weight and it's not something that they're trying to do. This has been something that I have been working very, very hard at. It started about, I want to say 2 years ago. No, it's probably longer than that. I think it was actually in 21 or 22. The I hit 280 pounds, and I was like, okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I had signed up to do a not the full hike of Machu Picchu, but like the last kind of 10, 12 miles of the hike of Machu Picchu, 8 to 10 miles of Machu Picchu. And so I started to hike with that and to just kind of get prepare and get ready. And I noticed I started feeling a little bit better. And what really did it for me is I started counting calories. And I use an app called MyFitnessPal, where you can insert different foods that you eat and then it tracks your calories for you. And it was very annoying for like a month. And then now it's just like second nature. I just do it all the time. And so one of the things that I have learned is that counting calories is the science behind uh, losing weight. If you burn more calories or if you consume less calories than what you burn, you will lose weight. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can kind of trick your body into doing different things with like keto or paleo diets or things like that. But it comes down to how many calories you are taking in and how many calories and that delta based on how much you are losing. So there are a couple calculations that you can do. There's a base metabolic rate, which is basically how many calories your body would burn if you were just sitting on the couch all day. And you can take that and then create a modifier called your TDEE, I believe. I don't know what that one actually stands for. TDEE, which based on your lifestyle can, like if you are active, if you work in like a highly active job, it will modify that because as you're moving around, lifting things and doing stuff, you will be burning more calories. And so you can use that calculator to figure out how many calories you're burning each day. If you eat less than that, you will lose weight. If you eat more than that, you will gain weight. So it was like coming from like an analytical background. Once I kind of understood that science behind it, that really helped me just like understand, oh, this is what I need to do. So I started counting calories and using that app very religiously. I got like a scale. I weigh all my food. And just this is my personality where if I don't do something 100%, I will fall off and not necessarily do it. Um, so I would say that you don't necessarily have to do you don't have to be super duper accurate because also calories burned is not going to be super duper accurate, but it's a way that helped me mentally understand and like keep up with it. That's just find something that works for you is my biggest piece of advice. That's just what worked for me. How accurate do I get with my fitness pal? I found weighing everything is so tough, keep up all the time, especially when it comes to prepping meals, family eating out. Eating out is hard. Not only is it way higher calories, but also not all the time do they give you the calorie intake. And what I will say after doing it for about 2 years is you get pretty good at estimating. And I would say that I am less accurate now than I was 2 years ago. When I started 2 years ago, it was more of a discipline thing that I had to do it for myself. And now I am at my goal weight. Woohoo. I have lost, as of this morning, 102 pounds. So I'm down to 178 pounds. My goal weight was around 180. At this point, I'm doing a lot more exercise, and I'm actually having the opposite problem where I'm having a hard time eating enough, which is a whole other thing. But I don't necessarily weigh everything all the time now. That gets a lot harder, but MyFitnessPal has like functions where you can create foods and you can create recipes, which I've done a lot because my wife and I will frequently go back to these same like blueberry muffins that we make or the same breakfast sandwich. And I just create that as a recipe. And then like, I just know I use this amount of cheese, I use this amount of eggs, and I just hit add. So it's you find tips or you find tricks to figure that out. But the initial start was definitely just counting calories and hiking. Once I started hiking and I started feeling better, it was weird. It's crazy. I then started doing more disc golf. Disc golf is something that I started back in 2016, and I really enjoyed disc golf just a ton. And I found that I started doing that more and more. And at the time, recently, I bought like a smartwatch. I had a Apple Watch, and then I switched it out for a Garmin Venu 3, and then I've changed my Garmin since then. But I bought the Garmin, and I used that to start tracking how many calories I was burning playing disc golf. And I think one of the critical things for me was to figure out or to associate disc golf and hiking not necessarily as a workout, but something that I enjoyed. Because as soon as I framed it in my mind as I like doing this, the workout became second to the enjoyment of the actual activity. And I didn't have a negative connotation of, hey, I have to go work out, which is something that just in my past is not something I've always associated working out with bad, and something that I don't enjoy, or running, I don't enjoy it. And so when I was able to psychologically convince myself that I enjoy doing the activity and I didn't frame it primarily as a workout, that's when I started to enjoy it more. And then I started doing that more and more. And as you start working out more, you're then able to eat more, and you can figure out that deficit. To give you an idea, I think looking back on it, I think I was a little bit aggressive on the weight loss. I didn't know any better, but just I was eating at 1,000 calorie deficit every day, which was very tough. But at 1,000 calorie deficit, you're looking at about 2 pounds a week loss. 500 calories every day for a week, you will lose a pound a week. It's kind of the math. And so I was eating at 1,000, which is the highest or the most aggressive weight loss that MyFitnessPal allows you to do. If I was to do it again, I would probably stick with 1.5, 750 or 500, and slow down the weight loss a little bit, just because it was aggressive, and like you're just tired after a while. And then after doing that for so long, I think I did it for, I don't know, 8 to 10 months, maybe even longer than that. I found that my body didn't need as much food, and I got used to it. And so now that I'm eating at a more normal level, a maintained level, it's harder for me to actually eat more food, which is just weird how quickly over the course of a couple of years it changed like that. But yeah, so I started doing that back in high school. I was a big cyclist. I really enjoyed biking. And so I think it was 22, maybe 23, the winter of 22, 23, we did a philanthropic bike ride, which we've been doing for every year since I graduated, where I think I did that year 15 miles, which is kind of the lower end of the number of or the amount of rides that they offered. And after that, I was like, I really would like to get back into cycling. Like I enjoy cycling, but I had been associated with, working out, which is something I don't enjoy. And so my mind had convoluted everything, and it was like, oh, I don't actually like this, when it turns out I do. And so I bought a smart trainer, which is a trainer that is in like indoor. You hook your bike up to it and it will adjust the resistance for you. And that helped me start biking again. And I biked all through the winter, and then I started biking outdoors again. And now I am biking a lot. I love biking. I bike 4 to 5 times a week. at this point. And just kind of, again, associating the exercise with something you enjoy rather than something that is required of you, whether or not that's a self-imposed requirement or not, really helped me shift my relationship to exercise, from something I didn't like to something that, oh, I just need to find what I actually enjoy and then do that. So I started biking a lot. And then I think once I started biking, that's when I started rapidly losing weight because I was working out a lot more. And then I was also eating at a deficit, which I again, do not recommend. If you're doing heavy workouts, don't eat at a huge deficit because your body will not like that. And so I had to adjust and figure that out. But I was using my Garmin to track how many calories I was burning during those workouts and still eating at that deficit. But if I burned 700 calories in a workout, then I was eating, I think at the time I was eating at like 1630 calories a day, which would be my base. And then I would then eat 2,300 calories or 2,300 calories a day. Because I added 700. So anything that you burn in a workout, you get to eat if you are tracking based on your TDEE. And so I was doing that. And then, I don't know how it got in my head, but I decided that I wanted to train for a triathlon. And so that's where we're at now. So I went from, a couple of years ago, I would be winded walking up the stairs to now I just finished an hour swim right before the stream. I got an hour and a half bike ride after this. And my goal is to do the half Ironman in Louisville next year in August and potentially a full Ironman in 27, depending on how the half goes. So yeah, it was not easy. Anyone who says that it's easy is lying, but I would say it's very satisfying. And it was definitely worth it, at least for me, to push through the challenge of it to get to the satisfaction of it. But it's not something that I thought would be as satisfying as it was when I started, or maybe even for the first 12 months. And I think that is something that is so hard for just humans to comprehend, that long-term payoff, and it's worth it until it actually happens. But yeah, I'm significantly happier. I think it has helped with my mental health as well. I was not in a great place back when I was that heavy. And I do believe that there is a correlation between the physical and the mental health as well, at least for me. And so, yeah, I'm happier, I'm healthier. I appreciate you asking. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. I am more than happy to answer any questions. I wanted to talk about it. I've gotten a couple questions on different videos, comments asking me to talk about it. So, yeah, I thank you for asking. I think it was Jeff who asked me to to talk about it because I was like, I'm going to talk about it today, and I was like, nah. I don't know why, as a society, we stigmatize talking about it. I'm not 100% sure why, but I wish, or I hope that this can be a place where that stigma goes away, because I am very happy to help talk about it and help in any way that I can. If anyone else wants to know more, yeah. I think so. And the energy you put out is the energy. Yeah. And that's really interesting. I like that quote a lot because you're storing energy. It's almost like the energy that you put in earlier, you will get it back, potentially even more, because now I'm just able to do a lot more. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And thanks for listening. It's different than what's normally on the channel, so I appreciate you letting me talk for a little bit, but yeah. Again, any questions, very, very happy to ask. Nothing is off limits. I'm happy to talk about it. Makes me motivated to see the process you get. Oh, that makes me happy. Just let me know if there's anything I can do to help. It's worth it. Let's play some Lord of the Rings. All right.